Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? This is Chazzy and welcome back to What's the Damage, the good old WTD here in my YouTube channel. Today I have a special guest star. It is the wind, outside of my house. There's a lot of wind outside. You guys might be able to literally hear it howling. It's freaking crazy. I don't know why, because it's so damn sunny. Man, yesterday and today it's been really sunny. It's been really nice because I love sunny weather. I put my stuff outside to dry, in the old hamper. I don't have a fancy dryer like in the US, God, I wish I did. Speaking of US, today's video is going to be kind of related to that. I'm going to be talking about patriotism or anti-patriotism. I actually have no idea what the hell the title of the video is even going to be. I probably should have already defined it before I started recording. But I'm just going to randomly just like blur it out, and talk about it in different ways and stuff here. And I really should write scripts before I do these videos. But anyway, so here's the thing. This very video here is inspired by conversations that I have with a cousin of mine. He's a really good kid. He's really smart and intelligent, but sometimes he does say some crazy stuff, such that my nickname for him in Portuguese is O Maluco, which means the crazy guy, because sometimes he does say random crap that doesn't really make a lot of sense, but hey, that's just the way it is, man. Luan's a destination. Just dig in and stick 'em. Yeah! Okay, but in all seriousness, here's the thing. When it comes to patriotism, I was actually talking to him recently, about this, and he thinks that people don't really have an obligation to be patriotic towards their countries, and I actually, I am in the position where I kind of suffer from this, I have had a few identity crises over the years, because in case you guys don't know, even though I am Brazilian, I forgot to point out that I'm actually wearing a Brazilian shirt today, the Brazilian football national team jersey, to illustrate the point. Even though I am Brazilian, I speak English the way that I do as an American because I was raised in the United States. I wasn't born there, and even if I was, it wouldn't make me American. It would just make me a Brazilian with American citizenship, But that's probably a story for another video. But the point is that when it comes to being patriotic, there are people who think you should be and others who don't really care. They don't think you shouldn't, but with me it's different. I don't really care much for patriotism, but then again, it really depends. I would much rather be North American than Brazilian, not to spit on my own countrymen, but I really would. But when it comes to being patriotic, I don't really take it too seriously, the Independence Day in the United States is the 4th of July, and I to this day I still celebrate that more than the Brazilian Independence Day, which is on September 7th, However, there is a silver lining here in this argument. I consider patriotism to be much stronger and more obligatory, let's say, within sports, okay? So you will always see me supporting my home country of Brazil in a sports competition, whether it be the FIFA World Cup or maybe the Basketball World Cup, if that's a thing. I think it is the FIBA, whatever context, the Olympics, obviously. In whatever context my country will be participating in any sports-related event, I will always be supporting Brazil, Even though in general, in a nutshell, in my day-to-day normal routines, I do not consider myself Brazilian at all. And that, I think, is where me and my cousin kind of butt heads a little bit, because we have different opinions about both of these things, okay? Let me try to explain in a more simplified way. There was a recent controversy involving the final of the Copa America, which is a soccer or football competition between South American national teams. The final was Brazil against Argentina, and a lot of Brazilians were actually rooting for Argentina to win because they were fans of Lionel Messi, the player on Argentina, right? Now, this infuriated me. It infuriated Neymar and a few other players as well. He actually spoke out against this, and to me, it's like a spit in the face, man, because even if you think that your national team is currently going through a rough time, you have an obligation as somebody from your country to support your club, or rather your national team, I take sports very seriously, much more than other things in real life. So I don't really care if there's a world war and it's, I don't know, Brazil against Poland, we would get crushed in like a second, but any kind of conflict involving the country of Brazil and another one, if you want to support the other country or just not support Brazil, I don't care. I do not give a crap at all. You do whatever the hell you want. But when it comes to sports, if Brazil is facing another national team in a competition, especially if it's the final of a competition, and you support the other team, then I'll be pissed, you know, because sports are a form of escapism. You know, it's like video games. I talked about this before in other videos. So like, I think that sports is something that is really embedded in your blood, you know. Wherever you are born, you have an obligation to support the country in the sport that you were born in, you know. But then again, although I do have a very extreme line of thought regarding this, I do also understand and I respect that not everybody is into sports the way that I am. But if you consider yourself a sports fan, and if you make yourself out to be somebody who takes it seriously and who is very patriotic and who's this and that, who loves the sport and the teams you support, then you have to be patriotic. You can't have it both ways, buddy. You can't claim to love a sport and love your club and your national team and then support the other team that they're playing against because you're not inspired by your national team. That's not how it works. You can't go both ways. You have to literally pick a lane, okay? So, like in a nutshell, this part specifically here, I disagree. My cousin also disagrees, but in another way. But then again, he is one of the people who actually supported Argentina. He rooted for Argentina to win over Brazil, his own country, in the Copa America final. So obviously, he, along with other people who did so, is always going to try to justify their opinions in different ways. You know, he's never going to admit that he was wrong, because he does admit, though, I do admire this in my cousin, he did admit that he supported Argentina in the final, but he refuses to admit that he was being anti-patriotic in that specific sense, you know? And that's where we start to butt heads even more, because if you go against your national team in a competition in any sport, you are already anti-patriotic, dude. But why do I include my cousin in this context? Because he claims to be a lover of the sport, you know, who has followed it for many years since he was a kid, even longer than I have, you know. So for him to do something like this doesn't make sense to me, you know. Other people who don't really care too much and are just a dumb little Messi zets, you know, the fans of Lionel Messi, that's okay. But still, if you claim to be a patriotic, wow, the lighting really changed all of a sudden, didn't it? I think the sun went behind a cloud. Holy crap, let me take a look in the mirror here, see if it's still looks pretty okay. I hope it's not going to get too dark though. But so yeah, basically, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I think that there's a very fine line that you can draw between being patriotic and anti-patriotic in a sense in this specific context. But if you supported Argentina in the final of the Copa America against Brazil and you are Brazilian, you are a dumbass anti-patriotic, okay? I'm sorry to say, but I mean, if I offended you, you probably needed it. Look, guys, when it comes to certain things within entertainment, you know, culture, like sports, for example, you know, it really is important for you to always respect the boundaries of the countries that you, It's always important for you to observe the cultural heritage within the sport manifestations of, am I drunk? What the hell am I saying? Okay, look, when it comes to sports, okay, just respect the patriotism that people have, okay? Respect the country that you were born in, that you live in, so you don't get into arguments with people like me, okay? It's much easier that way. But the problem is that I'm starting to really hate Lionel Messi, you know? Even though he's a phenomenal player, you know, I did talk about him in this video some time ago, you know? But I'm starting to really dislike him because of this, because my own people, my own Brazilians who claim to love the sport are rooting for Argentina, who is the biggest damn rival of this country in any sport ever, just because they're fans of Lionel Messi individually. And that's really stupid. Like, if you're a fan of him, go support PSG where he plays for now, you know? It makes much more sense than what you're doing, because if you're not Argentinian, don't root for Argentina, buddy. I am a really big fan of Cristiano Ronaldo. I actually prefer him over Lionel Messi, but I would never support Portugal because I'm Brazilian, for crap's sake. Like, try to imagine like the final of FIFA World Cup, you know? It's Brazil versus Argentina, and if you're such a fan of Messi and you're Brazilian, are you going to root for Argentina to win the goddamn World Cup over your country, dude? Because if you do, get the hell out of this country. Go live in Argentina, man, because you don't belong here, okay? In case it's not obvious, I take sports very seriously. I get really angry with this kind of thing, you know, so there's really no argument. But going back to patriotism, because I grew up in a different country, sometimes I have difficulty being patriotic with my own country, which is Brazil, you know? I spent 11 years in the United States and I went there when I was 5, man. I literally grew up there, and funny enough, throughout all the years that I lived there, I actually thought I was American because, well, I spoke English perfectly, you know, I was really imbued with the American culture, and my parents worked there, I studied there, you know, and we pretty much did everything legally as far as I could tell, you know, and we were living there legally. But when we moved back to Brazil before ever getting citizenship, you know, so that's just it. Like, I always thought me and my parents were legally American citizens, you know, but when I was a teenager and I came back to Brazil, that's when I realized that we weren't, you know. My whole world came crashing down after that, you know, so I had to not only realize that I was never American to begin with, but now I had to get into my Brazilian roots and try to understand, like, how exactly it worked, you know, because I am Brazilian. I can say that today anywhere I go, you know. I'm not proud of it, but it's what I am. I can't deny it, you know, even if I wanted to. It's in my blood. So the thing is that, like, it was always strange for me, you know, to be patriotic with this country, but I always am when it comes to sports because of how quickly I fell in love with soccer or football, to those of you who live in Europe, you know, and that kind of helped me be patriotic, but just specifically in sports, you know, which is a step in the right direction, you know. I may not be patriotic in general, but at least I am in sports, right? I mean, I am patriotic in one specific area. It's better than not being patriotic at all, you know, so I will never actively root against my country in any sport, you know, but when it comes to actually being what I am, it's hard to be proud of being Brazilian, you know, for reasons that I might talk about in another video because this one might get too long, but it's really hard to be proud to be what I am, you know, because my country, my people, my culture, my way of life, you know, everything about Brazil just like really disappoints me, you know. You know, it would be really cool if I could record this video with that cousin of mine, you know. It would be really nice for him to put his points out. He does speak English too, you know. We have collabed in the past on my channel, but I live in Sao Paulo. He lives in Rio de Janeiro, you know, and freaking the crazy guy always does the boycottery. Anyway, so here's the thing, in summation, like, when it comes to being patriotic, it really does depend on what you feel is patriotic, you know, excluding sports, because I'm pretty sure I made my opinion clear about that, you know. I think a good chunk of this video was talking about that, you know, and it's really crazy because it really does come down to what you believe in and what you prefer, you know. If you live in another country but you were born in another, if you feel like you belong more to the country that you're in, you know, this goes out to all my friends living in the United States who are Brazilian or anything else, but they have citizenship and they identify more with American culture. Hey buddy, you can go for it, you know. You can consider yourself more American than Brazilian, for example, but me personally, I will never see you as American, you know. I have friends over there who, just like me, went there when they were young and still are living there to this day. They have citizenship, you know. They have they consider themselves American Brazilian or Brazilian American, you know. But me personally, I'm not trying to throw shade or anything, you know. I'm just saying that I personally consider all of you to just be Brazilians with American citizenship. It doesn't automatically make you American, you know. The law might consider you American, but dude, I know people who live there, not necessarily friends, but like friends of friends, you know, who speak English so crappily, you know. It's such like painful, broken English, and yet they consider themselves American just because they have citizenship, you know, and they don't like anything about American culture, you know. They pretty much only hang out with Brazilian people, you know. So you guys can go screw yourselves, man. You're literally squandering your citizenship, you know. You guys might be thinking, well, Chazzy is just saying that because he doesn't have citizenship, and you might actually have a point, but that is still not what I'm trying to get at here, okay? It's a whole different colossal statement, you know. It's gonna open up a can of worms about a whole other thing that I don't want to talk about right now. So I think I'm just gonna wrap it up here, okay, guys? This might lead to a subtopic in the future, you know, talking about something related to the Brazilian national team, where Neymar, who's our star player, doesn't want to play anymore because of all this anti-patriotism. But that's gonna be a really long one, so I'll probably do another video just talking about that. But anyway, If you guys happen to agree or disagree, let me know by giving this video a like or a dislike. You know, it doesn't really matter. You're gonna help the video get exposure anyway. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this. You know, if you think that patriotism is an obligation, or if you don't really care, if you think it's stupid as hell, you know, and what your opinions are about the sports. But consider that my opinion about it is very strong, so we might not have a very calm debate about that, you know. And also, if you happen, whatever your opinion is about this video, if you like the content, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And while you're at it, might as well hit the notification bell, right? Because I release videos every single day, and it'll be good for you guys to stay up to date on my uploads, because usually it's multiple videos per day, so I gotta hit that notification bell to know exactly when they come out, okay? And that's it for now, guys. This is Chazzy signing out for now, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Roll the anti-patriotic, or rather, no, sorry, patriotic outro screen.